on, everybody? Welcome back to another exciting Bachelor recap edition of the Viall Files. I'm your host, Nick, joined by Amanda. Allie is not feeling well today.
I feel like usually she's always like goes really out of her way to like be like, no, I promise, like it's okay for me to miss work. And everyone's like, Allie, like we know you would never miss work for anything dumb.
Allie's not feeling well. She'll be back. We hope. So Amanda is keeping down the fort, and we have a wonderful guest. Rozzi is with us.
Hello.
Very talented musician, and most importantly, big fan of the show.
Huge fan. This is a dream.
And by this show, I mean this podcast, and then secondary, the Bachelor
Yes.
Have you been a fan of the show for
ever?
Yeah. The Bachelor.
I think my first season, I forget his name, but that British guy who was like a random one-off.
That was maybe
yeah. No, I'm probably a bigger Bachelor fan than you are.
Oh,
I'm like a very serious fan. Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
All right.
No, I remember my friend was watching it I was like a teenager, like years ago, and ever since.
All right.
So this is a big deal for me. I'm so excited.
We are happy to have you. Well, as you know, we have recently been talking about the Bachelor Nation hot gossip tea, whatever our
and
all the silly things people are doing on the internet.
Yes, and I think it's important to note that Allie compiled much of this list. She did a lot of great research, so want to give credit where credit is due. So we're starting with, remember how Claire Crawley found a new boo very quickly, just like Katie.
The tattoo guy.
From her season.
Dale Moss is now dating a model named Florencia Galarza. And they showed a lot of PDA and NYC. So he's showing off his new relationship, flexing on them with a model.
When you say showing off a lot in New York City, like is he just like walking the streets and making out with her, or are they going to events?
Posting their own photos?
Yeah. Is it on social?
It's definitely, so PDA is definitely like a more sensational and sensationalized media version. They were seen like walking around, shopping. I don't know if it was much more. Just kind of, it wasn't anything like insane, but it was definitely a very like outward relationship, like public displays of affection, not necessarily sexuality.
Good for Dale.
I know, good for Dale. I feel bad for Claire, not because Dale did anything wrong, but I just feel bad for Claire. I just want her to be in love so badly.
Yeah, I think we're all rooting for Claire, you know?
Yeah,
I don't know if Tattoo Daddy's the one, but I don't know him at all.
He was from her season, right?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
Technically.
He wasn't the guy who left when she left. Was he?
No.
No, the guy she went on one date with and he was like all broken and he had to leave. I always wanted them to find each other again.
Yeah, no. Not him.
Okay.
Yeah, I think Claire really only saw Dale.
Yeah, she really only saw Dale.
I guess it's entirely possible for her to be like, oh my God, like
tunnel vision for
were you
Dale.
on my season?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Yeah. And is Claire and that guy still, we assume.
Yeah, there's
we probably would have heard
updates.
Maybe no news is good news.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So speaking of Katie Thurston, we do have, so Katie posted an Instagram talking a lot about her experience with social media and more specifically the ways that it hasn't been healthy for her mental health and how she's been trying to set boundaries. One thing that she mentioned was that she has a limit on her screen time that only John, her current boyfriend, knows the password to. What do we think about that? It's also was followed up by Katie additionally posted a video on TikTok talking about her inverted nipple and the way that we should normalize our bodies and explaining her experience with said inverted nipples. Tea, piping hot.
I'm all for like limiting screen time. I think social media is, I love it and I hate it so much, so I support that.
We have to manage that. I think the juxtaposition of her two posts is an interesting
juxtaposition.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, social media for all of us is challenging. And you get this audience and you don't know what to do with it. Natalie, since Natalie and I started dating, she has more followers now than she did when we didn't start dating. And that happened rather rapidly. And one thing I love about her is, among many things, is I honestly don't really notice a difference between her social media use between now and when we first started hanging out, which it wouldn't be bad if she did more, but it's just, she's very like, she's good at managing
and like compartmentalizing.
Yes. You know, she's on it more. She does it. Sure. And she started doing like some of these Q&As or whatever. And she's been asked to do a couple podcasts, and once in a while she'll be like, oh, do you think I should share this or that? And only thing I ever remind her is that when you have an audience, and I feel it too, you sometimes feel like this responsibility to share or give them what they want, so to speak, to answer their questions. And I always remind her, you don't have to do that.
You don't owe them.
You don't owe them anything. And just whatever you share, just know that you are giving a bunch of strangers access to you, and you don't get to control how they use that, right? And so no matter what you say, no matter what.
Prepared for.
There's always waves, right? The first wave is met with like, oh, you're so like amazing, I love you, whatever that praise is. Immediately followed by the second or third wave is going to be when it gets out into the outside of your audience, you know, when your critics, you know, start seeing it and they start sharing it with other people, and someone comes from another page, can you believe what this person posted, or ha ha ha. And then people will have those opinions, and that can affect you. So it's just, I repeat myself all the time. Anytime, I mean, the few times she asked me, I just say the same thing. You don't have to do it. Just know that, you know?
I always use that. What's that woman's name where it's like, if it doesn't give you joy?
Oh, Marie Kondo.
Yeah, that's like my social media rule. It's like, does this post give me joy? Like, do I want to share this with people?
Totally.
That's a great point. And that's something people in Bachelor Nation have all made the mistake. Amanda and Allie work with me, and like most of the stuff we post and do on like TikTok is fun, but every once in a while it's just like, is this worth it? Like, do we know how this is going to perform?
Totally. When in doubt,
we're just like, nah. Like, nah. And sometimes you want to push the limits, you want to be entertaining, and you want to create discourse on your page, and there's this pressure.
Yeah.
But you know, I saw Natalie saw Katie's inverted nipple TikTok, and she showed it to me, and I was at first kind of like, okay, you know, I read the comments. I was curious what the response would be. The initial response seemed to be rather positive. A lot of
it found the inverted nipple community. It resonated with people.
The inverted nipple community,
found it.
It's just like, okay, great,
definitely, and that is great. I personally think it almost feels like it's giving it more weight than it needs to be given, because to me it's just like, everybody's bodies are different, great, but maybe I'm wrong, and that does need to be more underlined.
Well, that's the thing is, my one kind of reaction to that was, is there an easier way for us to articulate to any audience? We all have our insecurities about whatever. Maybe some of those insecurities might relate to our bodies, and we're not alone.
Actually, very in theme with this week's Bachelor episode, if I do say so.
Totally.
It is.
It's also I think it's almost interesting to look at, like, I don't want to say strategy because that makes it sound too calculated, but like as a means of humanizing yourself and being vulnerable.
That's true.
As opposed to just posting sort of generic stuff that hopefully people will see a little bit more humanity in you.
No,
because it's a lot worse to be making fun of someone who's being a little bit vulnerable about their body or something they felt insecure about than someone who's just posting like everyday content.
Definitely.
Yeah, I mean, and I think Katie she's talked about embracing this. You know, she had what did they call themselves? The messy crew or something. Controversial
crew.
And Katie seems to have embraced this, like, I don't care what you think mentality. I'm going to be my most authentic self, which is like, yeah, it's nice to say. And like, and then you almost like, okay, if she named this thing. It's like she named her brand almost, right? So there's a pressure of like sticking with your brand. What does your brand mean? Well, that means, I guess I should talk about what I'm most insecure about, my body parts. And okay, you know, I guess.
Yeah, I'm all for vulnerability. I mean, like, I'm a musician, and I remember, and my music's very vulnerable. But then also I remember I wrote this little thing about, I was dropped from my first record label and the experience of going through that. And I do, like, for me, sharing that had nothing to do with the reaction of my followers. It was more like, it just felt so good to like release that. And maybe that's part of it too, is this is something she's been carrying, and there's something very empowering about taking control of it and just releasing it into the universe, like if that's her intention.
Yeah. I don't,
maybe not.
well, I don't,
Totally.
because there's a pressure of, I'm sure on some levels that was her attention. As someone who has a large audience, there's always there's always the thought of how will my audience receive it? A lot of people treat their platforms, myself included, like a business when it's that large. And so you have to have that thought process. It's not just like, this is going to be my page to just like express myself. That's not what it is when you have a following that large that you're monetizing. Katie's monetizing her page. So there's that thought process. How's this, like, how are brands going to see this or not see this? Will this get the type of brands I'm looking for? Those are all things that, people with followings, and a lot of people in Bachelor Nation included, are thinking about. So you don't really know. It begs the question of, like, if a guy in Bachelor Nation went on TikTok and started talking about the shape of his penis, and if that was an insecurity of his and how it changed when he got aroused, I'm sure some men would be like, yeah, I feel seen.
Yeah.
I wonder how that would be received. I don't know.
Yeah.
But even if you are helping other people feel seen, it is not necessarily yours. You can and applaud if you do, but like I always tell Natalie, you don't have to share.
No.
Because it can come at a big price.
Definitely.
So I don't know.
It's a vulnerable move.
Absolutely. Our next piece of Bachelor tea is that Matt James and Rachel returned to Nemacolin.
Oh, I thought that was really cute. I saw that.
Yeah, great.
And it seems, so what do we think? Do we think they're getting serious? Do we think
I think so. What an amazing outcome for them.
I'm just, I guess, happy for them that they were able to ride out the storm, because yes, I think she made a mistake, and then the weight of Bachelor Nation,
yes,
and then some, and people outside of Bachelor Nation, because it became such a national story at a time where this was very much talked about, like, also entered the conversation, and especially when it came to Rachel and Matt, and people like having their eyes on them and watching their every move and critiquing their every move. I'm really happy that they were
Me too.
able
no, that's why I think it was so sweet. I was like, wow.
Of it and be together. So
I agree.
Yeah, I think it's a really good story, and I wish them the best, because it seems like it was a very, very challenging time for both of them.
Yeah.
Are you guys doing more traveling now that things have been opened up the past year or so? Maybe you are. And if you are, you should be traveling with an away suitcase. That's what I travel with, because I just, especially if you don't carry on the away travel one, I don't know, the size of it is very functional. It's got a battery pack in there. It's great. I love how it organizes my stuff. You can get also, it's just amazing how much clothes you can put in an away suitcase. Because not all suitcases are made equal, and some of them, they're made like, it's like, why did they do this? I don't understand.
Totally.
What's this piece? That's what I've been traveling with for the past year. All of Away suitcases are designed to last a lifetime. A lifetime. Mine's as good as new, with durable exterior that can withstand even the roughest of baggage handlers. Also, not only does it last a lifetime, it still looks good. The 4 360-degree spinner wheels guarantee the smoothest roll, even through the most hectic of airports and stations. Also true. Available in different materials like polycarbonate, aluminum, and durable nylon in a variety of colors and sizes. A TSA-approved combination of lock keeps all your belongings safe. If any part of your suitcase breaks, Away's standout customer service team will arrange to have it fixed or replaced. There's a 100-day trial on everything Away makes. A 100-day trial on luggage. Who's ever heard of that? This is insane. Take the product out on the road, live with it, travel with it, even get lost with it for 100 days. If you decide it's not for you, you can return any personalized item for a full refund. Start your 100-day trial and shop the entire Away lineup of travel essentials, including their best-selling suitcases at awaytravel.com/VIALL. That is awaytravel.com/VIALL. Now's the time to set yourself up for a better and brighter year Everlywell can help you give yourself more clarity, confidence, and well-being with over 30 at-home lab tests. That's right. Doesn't matter what you need to test for, Everly has got you covered. What are some of the things that you can test for? Maybe it's your sensitivity to food, allergy test. Maybe it's eggs, could be almonds. Maybe it's just like, I think I've been, maybe you're wondering if you're gluten intolerant. They can test for that.
Also, they do like STD tests.
They do STD tests.
Which is great for it's...
Who wants to go to the doctor?
It's not embarrassing. It's great to take care of your sexual health, but sometimes,
it can be
you're sitting in the waiting room and you're like, feeling weird about yourself.
You're in the waiting room, like, what brings you in here? It's like, I just want to get STD test.
I made a mistake.
No, like, I don't think, now you don't have to say that, because Everlywell's got you covered. Everlywell ships your at-home lab test straight to you with everything you need for a simple sample collection. Using the prepaid shipping label, mail your test back to the certified lab. In just days, your physician-reviewed results and actionable insights are sent to your device. And you can share your results with your primary care physician to help guide you in next steps if next steps are needed. Over 1 million people have trusted Everlywell with their at-home lab testing. And listeners of the show, Everlywell is offering a special discount of 20% off an at-home lab test at everlywell.com/VIAL. That is everlywell.com/VIALL for 20% off your at-home lab test. everlywell.com/VIALL.
Our next piece of tea is Hannah Brown has a new dog named Wally with her boyfriend, Adam Woolard. Do we think that getting a dog with your partner is means a proposal is imminent, or not even imminent, but that you are is that to what degree do we think that influences the level of commitment?
I think it's a lot. I mean, it's one of those things. It depends how you look at it.
I think it depends on, was it I'm adopting a dog and my boyfriend is coming with me and supporting me, or we're together adopting this dog?
How did you buy the dog?
Yeah.
Is this a playing, because you could easily just call it playing house.
Yeah, right.
How does moving in together?
Right.
People would be like, oh my God, I'm not getting,
Mm-hmm.
we're not moving in until I have a ring on my finger.
Right.
And then you move in, you're like, I'm expecting a ring. And
Right.
So who knows?
Do they live together?
I don't know. I do think, regardless of what it says about their long-term success, I definitely think it's safe to assume
Mm-hmm.
that the relationship seems to be thriving.
Yes.
In the present, right? Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah.
Things could change in a week. Who knows? Or they could get together for 90 years. But getting a dog together is a big step.
I really get so invested in everybody's relationship. I'm so happy for her too. I don't know any of these people, obviously, I'm just a crazy fan, but I feel so happy for her. I'm like, that's so great.
Yeah.
I'm so glad.
I just really want to know, is she still not following her sister-in-law?
I love that.
No, she is still not following her future sister-in-law, Haley Stevens. She is not still
That story is crazy. I want to be to the brother.
But never
really?
I want weekly updates.
I know.
send them to a spa
Still
together
not
to talk
following.
this
Oh my
out.
God. Wait, so just to confirm, her brother is engaged to
Jed's
the girlfriend Jed was with, or whatever.
allegedly with. They're hooking up with
How
or
did that
saying
even
they love you
happen?
to each
I
other.
think the most disturbing
Exactly.
part of that.
How did that happen?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Is I'm just saying this girl 100%. Well, I guess that's not fair. Who knows how it happened, but it seems to me that she would have found a way to kind of connect
Yes.
with Hannah's family. And that was really creepy to me. I'm like, that scares
Or she
me.
should be buying lottery tickets.
Yeah.
Or lightning.
Yeah. It's did they meet on Hinge? Probably not.
No.
I feel like that's where, and I have no insight. This is a total guess,
Mhm.
but I feel like that could be Hannah Brown's frustration of a lack of maybe trust.
Definitely.
Of how did you find your way into my brother's heart?
Yep.
And by proxy, now this girl who affected Hannah Brown's mental health or, her story at the time, inserted her, now has access to Hannah Brown.
Yeah, incredibly
She's spending
intimate
Christmas with
access.
Hannah Brown.
I mean,
Totally.
it's really, really weird.
And I think it's already something to navigate. When your
I would've
sibling
followed
gets
her.
married,
Yes.
there's already something
Oh,
about
yes.
kind of loyalty to the original immediate family, and now beginning a new one. So it's already a heightened
that's
situation.
already
And
totally.
we love our families, but we don't agree with their choices. often.
Right. Not always. Yeah, totally.
Right.
I remember when my brother got married, the main question everybody asks, do you like her? Like, that's like the first.
Yeah.
I'm just imagining people asking Hannah Brown this and not knowing the whole story.
I don't get to like have a say in who my siblings date.
No way. Of
you
course
know?
not. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a lot. It's the story I'm most fascinated about in this.
Yeah, me
Certainly.
too. That's great. That's great,
Certainly.
T.
So speaking of Hannah Brown season, Tyler Cameron is starring in a couple new shows. So we have him in Dirty Dancing.
Is that a reality TV show, or is he like it's like a Dancing with the Stars, but it's on Fox? Is that what it is?
It's like
Is it a dance competition? Because there's other like public figures in the lineup I saw.
Dirty Dancing.
yeah, it's okay. So apparently it's been around since 2007.
Okay,
And so 8 couples compete to become the new Dirty Dancing duo,
it's been around since 2007.
according to the internet.
That really, really surprises me. That really, I feel like
Did it start in 2007? Like go away like
It's like having a resurgence.
Joe Millionaire kind of thing? Because like Joe Millionaire came out in like 2002 or something.
Yeah. So okay, so I think the celebrity version is saying it's premiering February 1st, 2022.
Oh,
of
it's a
this year.
celebrity Dirty Dancing.
Yes. So I wonder if the competition has potentially existed as like a civilian competition, and now they're taking it up to the celebrity level.
So it's Dancing with the Stars, basically.
Seems to be Dancing with the Stars. Yeah.
I'm really surprised he's doing that. I have to say.
Before it used to. Why?
Because I feel like he's been so like specific about what he's done. I feel like he's like really trying to like hold on to the Gigi Hadid other echelon of, you know,
Sure,
like
but
it just seems
it's
like
hard.
No, yeah, I guess so.
I mean,
yeah.
sometimes holding on, being specific is maybe just also not getting other opportunities. I have no idea.
Yeah,
But the SNL cameo was a big
right.
thing.
Huge. That's what I mean, I guess. Like I feel like, you know, like I guess I don't know. It just surprises me.
Managing one's career in Bachelor Nation is it's hard to do.
Mm-hmm.
He is also going on Celebrity Big Brother, which is an interesting choice of show.
Yeah, like
You
also,
both seem to be slightly critical of these career choices.
No, I think it's more. I really just feel surprised.
Interesting is the nicest possible way of saying, I don't know if I'd do that.
No, I know. It honestly just like he won't go on Paradise, but you know what I'm saying? Like I'm confused by that choice a little bit.
That's a good point, because it's a conversation as old as time, and well, as old as Bachelor Nation has existed, in terms of like the playbook of clearly Tyler Cameron is trying to have, like many of us, a career in some sort of career in entertainment,
Mhm.
whether that's modeling, whether that's hosting, whether that's just being a personality,
Mhm.
maybe some acting. He has dipped his toes in that water, and many of us, and I'm the poster child for it, have been criticized for because Bachelor is about finding love, and the audience is trained to say you're here for the right reasons and it's for love. That even when Paradise is,
Mhm.
hardly that. If you go on multiple times, everyone's just like, oh, you again? Oh, like, and so and I think that's why it's not like the Real World and like Road Rules challenges, or like The Challenge, the show, or
Mhm.
Celebrity Big Brother, is that those shows, the premise is come be on TV.
Right.
Where The Bachelor is, you're
Come
not
find
here to
love.
be on TV, you're here for
Right.
love.
Right.
And I think the audience
Right.
buys into that narrative. And
punishes people who break it.
so, yeah. And
Yeah.
so I think Tyler's smart for not going on Paradise, because when it comes to Bachelor Nation, he will, and we've talked about this before, he can never be more likable. He's
top likable.
No, I completely agree. That's why I'm surprised that he's going on other but I guess he's going to another audience. I don't watch those shows.
it's another audience. And yes, to your point, it's not without risk.
Yeah.
In any reality TV show where you aren't in control of the edit, and
That's why I said interesting for Big Brother is because I'm like, that feels a little bit risky to go on a show that is all about like interpersonal dynamics and where you're like the whole premise is that you're constantly being filmed as opposed to a show where you can have a little bit more like polish and control of your narrative.
That's a good point.
Like, I'm kind of surprised he's not The Bachelor.
Well, it's possible most people I wouldn't believe. But I would believe that Tyler was offered and turned down. But I also, knowing what I know about their selection process, I don't think he's ever actually been offered it. And I think he might actually turn it down. You know, I think both are probably true. And if I were him, he's one of the few people
who would turn it down.
I would tell if he asked, he wouldn't. But if he did, I would tell him not to do it.
Yeah, because you can't get more popular. No, exactly.
He cannot
I agree.
be more, if he was the Bachelor, in fact, I don't think it would be more than not more popular. I think it would go terrible for him because, we've mentioned this before, but Tyler Cameron, it worked on Hannah Brown's season. Once in a while, sprinkle in empowered woman, but when you say that to 30 women, he just sounds like a fuckboy.
Yeah,
and and every woman that Tyler breaks up with, you know, when we're watching Clayton, there's a lot of like, I think we're warming up to Clayton, and of course he's like a handsome guy and he is blessed in a lot of ways, but like he's not Tyler Cameron in the like, you know, he's Clayton is some women's type and he's for other women, it's just not doing it for him, you know? And so if a woman breaks up with Clayton, we're all like, there's a lot of people like, I see it. And with Tyler, you would never see it. And so therefore he'd have to pitch a perfect game to not be criticized for. I agree. So you make an interesting point on Celebrity Big Brother. It's not about, you have an audience of men and women, it's a little bit more diverse that way. And it's not about like sweeping women off their feet. It's more about interpersonal relationships. And if he could lose some of his shine for sure.
Yeah, but it is, I think, like to your point, like it's a new arena, it's a new audience. So I think it's like it's an interesting move because I think it's like a little bit risky, but I think there's a solid reward if he does it well.
He's done a good job of limiting people's access to him in terms of what they know about him, and he's kept like somewhat of a mystery about like his life. And the more you don't know, the more you can fantasize about what you do like.
Exactly. And maybe it's just running out, like the attention's running. I don't know. I really was picturing him because he's like an author now and he was always a model, but I feel like he's probably working more than he was before. I kind of really just thought he would really lean into like mysterious hot celebrity.
Totally.
Yeah, but why I'm not surprised he's doing it is that at some point, you know, like he's been off TV for a while.
Sure. Yeah, maybe it's time.
And he got a couple cameos for like a movie, but I don't know if he's like studying acting or not.
Or if he even wants to do
what is
that.
What is hot, mysterious ex-reality TV star look like?
And
What's
how's that translate?
And how's that translate to like
But I mean,
he
could just be an influencer.
Sure. So I think he's just trying, I'm sure there's money involved in both of these projects.
Yes. There's also for Big Brother, there's a $500,000 prize.
Yeah, but he's probably making low six figures just to show up.
Do all reality TV shows have some kind of compensation?
Anything celebrity, like Dancing with the Stars, yes.
How about just being a contestant on The Bachelor? Do you get paid?
No.
$0? Is that legal?
Sure.
Cool.
I'm like, how do people afford the clothes?
Yes.
And also, what if you get eliminated night one and you brought
so many gowns? You probably can sell it.
I will say,
keep the tags on.
Yeah.
I will say the producers absolutely tell you not to spend money you don't have because they say you could go home night one. So don't do that.
I bet people give them clothes.
Yeah, it's a different arena now. I don't know. I mean, I'm sure some of the savvier contestants who get casted might try to work, hey, I'm going on this show and get some free stuff. I think a lot of them might not out of fear of because that could get you eliminated.
Also, when we're talking about right reasons, wrong reasons stuff, like you can just see it, like she's already looking at sponsorships. Like she's just like, it's
true.
Very quickly it goes down that path.
I'm guessing it doesn't happen all that much, but I'm sure it has.
You got to keep it on the DL, I guess.
Yeah, you got to keep it on the DL.
Maybe they just borrow clothes.
So like
and-
if you have a friend who has like a local boutique
Right,
store, you
then-
might do it, but
like a full-on brand. It's
but you're
risky.
like, you might not like
You're not partnering with Shein yet.
random DMing people you don't know and
No.
hoping they keep your secret.
yeah, no, that's a good point. That would be a disaster for them.
Tayshia seems to be doing an Irish exit from Bachelor Nation.
Mhm.
She of course was not on after the final rose, and she exited both Bachelor Nation podcasts that she was contributing to. How do we feel?
It's a great mystery.
It's such a mystery.
People, yeah.
I mean,
I guess the only thing I know, well, I know a lot, but
you have so many secrets. Killing me. How dare you bring your biggest fan in here and dangle secrets in front of her? Evil.
I think you just got to look at, what it's just like you kind of put the puzzle together. Rachel Lindsay used to host some of these podcasts, and she has been openly critical of the franchise, all while working for the franchise. And she exited those podcasts while simultaneously being critical of them, and yet still had a gracious goodbye and send off and kind of like, hey, it's been fun working with you. And despite her criticism of the franchise as a whole, there was a goodbye.
Yeah.
And there is not one here. And I don't think that's a coincidence.
Are they trying to just make Caitlyn the host of the Bachelorette and they just need one?
I don't know. I still think it's just going to be Jesse Palmer.
Yeah, I think so too.
But
this was just a theory.
it's not. That's just a total theory on,
Yeah.
on my part. I think they just want to have one host. But that I think Caitlyn's performance by herself at AFR
She was great.
opened the door for them to reconsider that.
And I think it was just really hard for Caitlyn and Tayshia because they went into the hosting gig kind of being set up to look like giggly little
Yeah.
girlies.
Yeah, no, I completely agree.
They definitely
they were not positioned.
They were
as
not
serious.
They were deliberately not positioned
Yeah.
so that they might not be considered
Yeah, totally.
as potential replacements. I
And
think
two is so distracting. Every time the two of them would come out, I'd be like, that's too many
it
people.
was funky
Right.
for sure. For people who have speculated, it has nothing to do with her and Zach's breakup. I know that much.
Yeah, that seems, no, of course.
I heard that rumor floating around.
And that she was the secret new Bachelorette, which I didn't believe.
Well, if she was a new Bachelorette, they definitely wouldn't be making it look like she might be fired.
Yeah.
So there's that. That's not a way
Yeah.
to go about it. But the whole idea that like, oh, well, she's no longer in a relationship and therefore she doesn't have value.
No.
They replaced her with Tia, who's not in a relationship.
I think Tia is in a relationship, but not with the
Not
Bachelor.
with a Bachelor Nation
Yeah,
person.
yeah.
They Becca Kufrin, who replaced Ali Fedotowsky, wasn't in a relationship at the time. In fact,
Right,
no, actually,
no.
she was, and then broke up with Garrett, and still has remained as host. And now she is dating Thomas, but they certainly, I mean, they
No, they
made
don't
them.
care,
They made them
yeah.
have a fake breakup on the show.
I
mean, as
love
far
the
as Bachelor
Thomas
Nation is
comeback
concerned, they're
so
not even.
much.
They're not even together. I love a Thomas
I
comeback.
feel
yeah.
so vindicated because the whole of Katie's season, I was like, that guy is not a villain. Like, it's just like never for a second bought it. And I feel so, so validated.
And also, speaking of Becca and Thomas posted on Instagram with the hashtag Minnow's daddy referencing Becca's dog. So, not only is it potentially like involved in a dog life, but he is referring to himself as a dog dad.
I ran into Becca at the farmer's market. Yeah, Thomas was like getting bagels or something, and so I didn't get to say hi to Thomas. But they seem to be
Very happy.
doing quite.
So happy for them too. I
quite
love
well.
it.
So yeah, I definitely don't think it has anything to do with Zach and Tayshia, but it's definitely I was surprised.
I think you're saying
as
she was
anyone.
fired. I think is what you're.
I don't know for sure if she was, so I want to
Okay.
be clear about that.
Okay.
But if she left on her own accord, there's just no way she would have chose
Would,
to
of course,
handle it
yeah.
the way that it was handled.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's just really hard not knowing what goes on behind the scenes. Like if there's any kind of like what kind of treatment
Yeah.
she's receiving. And she strikes me as someone who's like very principled and also very polished. So I could imagine that she wouldn't have very much wiggle room if she felt like this franchise wasn't giving her exactly what she felt was appropriate.
Yeah, I can't
for
see her like speaking out against. Really, she seems like I agree with you. She seems.
I do
very
know that-
polished.
but being
I-
like, I'm going to remove myself.
I
Yeah.
heard, yeah, but then that's her quitting. And see, that doesn't make sense because Rachel Lindsay had plenty to say and yet still very graciously left the show.
Mm-hmm.
So it doesn't make sense.
I don't know.
I don't know.
I heard she didn't love podcasting, but I just heard that. But again, the only thing that doesn't make sense is why not say, hey guys, it's been fun. I really enjoyed. I'm working on other projects. I have other dreams, aspirations, maybe starting your own podcast. I don't know, whatever it is. And just say, today's going to be my last episode. Absolutely loved working with you. I'll come back and be like a guest from time to time.
No, it's weird. But
weird. Just like
the abruptness.
Yeah. And then removing it from her bio. It's like when you break up with someone.
Totally.
Like,
yeah.
So.
Wow.
Well, are you anti-Irish exits in general?
Oh, from a bar, I think.
From a party, I love.
I think that's maybe why I'm like not viewing this as a negative thing because I'm like, I love an Irish exit.
But like I'm such an introvert in that way where I can't wait to get home. I'm proud. But this is different.
And it's also like not doing the big show of like everybody say goodbye to me. Like I wonder if that's part of it with like Tayshia feeling like, because I do think it would be, she's not like super prominent in the franchise right now. And so it might, I don't know, maybe she was worried that if she did make some big exit, people would be like, okay.
No. I definitely don't.
Okay.
Hard.
Okay.
Disagree.
Hey, that's okay. Just tossing it out there, trying to get some discussion. The last piece of Bachelor tea to cover today is that on February 1st, Andrew S. and Greg from Katie's season are becoming roommates. They're moving in together.
What a bromance.
Good for them.
Yeah,
Where?
Very cute.
Are they New York, I'm assuming?
They said coming to a city near you.
What?
New York?
I'm biased. I love New York. I know Greg lives in New York. Andrew lives in Chicago.
I don't know. I love New York too. I would vote for them to go to New York if I were to give them a recommendation.
I hope it's not Nashville.
Is Nashville? I feel like that used to be the Bachelor city and it's not anymore.
Very much. I think it's kind of it's definite. I think it's
on its way out.
Well, no, I think it's kind of, it's
still there.
Still pumping,
okay.
For sure.
Sure.
Nothing
against Nashville.
Nashville has enough of Bachelor people. Oh,
right.
no. I mean, I'm trying to save Nashville.
Very small place.
Yeah.
Nashville.
Totally.
Very small. I love Nashville, but it's
I'm going to guess New York.
Yeah, New York is the place to go.
All right. Should we get into the episode?
Yes.
Let's do it.
I have notes.
Let's start with how things began. Clayton wants to know. He is asking Jesse, hey, does anyone do this?
Can you do this?
I love Jesse Palmer's response. He's like, yeah, sure, man. Fuck it, man. Why am I here? There's no rules.
The two of them as little twins is so funny to me. Just when he comes out, it's so funny. Like they just look the same. My friend I was watching with hasn't been watching, and she's like, I'm so confused. Like, which one is the Bachelor?
Well, technically both. I know it's easy to pile on, Cassidy. It's easy to pile on, and rightfully so. But excellent TV.
Excellent TV. Here's my
You do not get that type of performance on The Bachelorette.
No, that's true. Well, I don't know. There's been some pretty dramatic people.
She was all over the place.
Yeah.
I know what you're going to say, but you go. And then
the kiss, the like fast kiss.
Other shock.
Oh,
yeah. And then
I know. That was so bad. When she leaned in to kiss him when he hadn't finished talking, and it was like,
oh, that was brutal.
I watched these, and same with Shanae. I can't help. It's so much that well, with Shanae, I think she's been drunk the whole time.
Is that what it is? Because I was worried that she's not, that she shouldn't be on TV. Like I was like, this girl's a little.
I suspect, she's been home. And white wine drunk is a specific kind of drunk that really emboldens.
Boy, is it.
Totally.
It really emboldens.
It makes me want to run my mouth.
Yeah,
Yes.
It makes you real sassy, white wine drunk.
That's so true.
And I think Shanae has been drunk the whole time.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense.
Total guess on my part. I think she is manipulating this 2-drink minimum rule so that, or maybe, I don't know, maybe she's not eating a ton. I don't know, but my gut is that the white wine is affecting her choices.
Makes so much more sense. That's really hilarious. That didn't even cross my mind. Yeah, of course she's drunk the whole time.
Because the behavior is so bizarre.
It's so bizarre. But
Cassidy, I think it's equally as bizarre, but I don't know if it's the booze.
Yeah. Here's the thing about Cassidy. I'm not like going to apologize for Cassidy because I could talk plenty of shit about her if we need to. But I straight up don't think her having a friends with benefits is that big of a deal. I really don't. I think the lying,
It's lying.
obviously. But if she had just been like, when he confronted her, if she'd just been like, oh yeah, I have a friend. It's just about sex. Neither of us want a relationship with each other, but I really do want a relationship. Therefore, I feel like then it'd be fine.
It's the sloppiness combined with the lying.
Yeah. And
she's mic'd up, talking, bragging to another girl in the house about this relationship, giving no thought about what she's saying.
Yeah, just dumb.
And you're right. In the grand scheme of things, it's not a big deal. Half those women there are like,
yeah, same.
like, maybe
definitely.
There's at least a couple more. And you know what? That's fine. You didn't know you were going to get casted on the show. The franchise was like, I don't know. We might bring you on. We might not. Until you're literally getting out of the limo, you're not on the show. I mean, you are told that. They are upfront about that. So why not have
fun,
friends, have some sex? Good for you. It's all about the delivery and the lying. Because you're right. What is the difference between Sally, who is engaged and supposed to get married that day, and someone who literally had some casual sex? Nothing. Or you could even argue that Sally's was even more significant and Clayton was begging for her to stay. But that's
I know, it's all the presentation.
It's the presentation.
Yeah.
And it's and she went about it in a way that made Clayton wonder if he could trust her.
Totally. Which by the way, I don't think he can trust her. Like, to be clear, like she showed a million signs of you cannot trust me. So I don't blame him at all for sending her home. I just think for the sake of the debate about it, I just think the actual issue before the lying and the sloppiness is not really an issue to me. I think, who cares if she was sleeping with somebody before?
I think it would be amazing if someone night one gets out of the limo, says hi, whatever, and in their first conversation, they say, can I be totally honest with you? I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know if I was getting on. I didn't know anything about you. First of all, you're very handsome or you're very hot or beautiful, whatever it is. And I don't know what's going on here. Maybe it's this crazy environment, but like I'm really like surprised how excited I am to be talking to you. But I gotta be honest, I didn't think I would. I thought I would show up, and I kind of had a casual fling with someone. There's no relationship, but like, I want to start this off by being just completely transparent with you.
I think that would be awesome.
And that would be amazing.
I completely agree.
And they would totally get away with it. And the Bachelor or the Bachelorette would all be like, all I know is that I can trust you because you can tell me your deepest, darkest secrets.
Yeah, totally.
Blah, 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 blah,
and
blah,
also,
blah.
just before somebody else can say it to him, because it always is worse when it comes from someone else.
Always.
Like, in
life. People call in and they have sex. It's like, oh, I'm doing this. I'm like, well, make sure they find out from you before they find out from anyone else. Because once they find out from someone else, it's over. There's
shady.
nothing.
Yeah.
You can never rebound from someone else sharing your secrets, the person your secrets are hurting.
Yeah.
That's such a good point. Yeah.
Exactly.
I also think part of it, like when we say sloppiness, is because Cassidy had been someone who talked so much about the strategy of the game. And she was like, I have to develop a connection early because that's how you win. So I think it's also coming from someone who's like treating themselves like a mastermind and then really steps in it. It's like, especially like, come on.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. And also just the manipulation of that is really icky. Like that's icky to be that manipulative about this whole thing.
Cassidy's clearly manipulative.
Yeah.
But so, I mean, we were obviously slightly tough on Teddy, but in fairness to Teddy, there's a lot of.
I think Teddy really handled herself very well on your podcast.
She handled herself great.
She was great.
She was amazing.
She did.
But there's a lot of what we were critical of Teddy going on in this episode.
Yes.
So it's.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Lots
we didn't see much of Teddy this episode.
No,
she bring it up.
Good. That's good news for Teddy.
I feel like this is me being a crazy spy. Yeah. She seemed so miserable on the beach date, but the show didn't even, like no one acknowledged it. And that made me think, okay, so she's going to be a favorite because like that could totally be framed as like, this girl won't even get into it or whatever.
Yeah.
And I don't blame her.
What's wrong with you, Teddy? Why don't you? That literally happened to me in the mime date in France.
Right,
like, I was like, this is fucking stupid.
Do you ever say, like, just listen to what you just said? And be like, when I was on that mime date in France.
No, trust me, I know. It's
I was looking at Teddy like, same. I would be like, oh my God, I can't do this like fake beach run. This is cringy, you know?
Yeah, that's exactly why it's great news for Teddy.
Yeah.
Because they still showed her.
This makes me feel like I'm really good at
You had plenty of like, oh, there's Teddy. You're just being reminded that she's still in the house.
Yeah.
But we don't really need anything from her. She's had plenty of moments. She's, gotten validation from Clayton. She's going to get like the fourth or fifth one-on-one.
Go ahead and say that right now.
She usually could be. Yeah. And yes, she clearly didn't seem like she was enjoying herself. And that absolutely could have been used against her 100%. Oh, you got the first impression, Rose. You don't feel like you need to like embrace the beach date or whatever the fuck.
Yeah, somebody probably did say that and they just didn't even show it,
100%. So,
Shanae definitely said it.
Yeah. Anyway, Cassie goes home.
Yes.
I'll never get over that kiss on the cheek in the middle of his sentence.
bad.
That was, that made me want to die. It was so cringy.
Like the definition of not reading the room.
Yep.
Do you remember that, Nick?
When she tried to kiss him?
Yeah, when like Clayton's like
"Thank you
mid-sentence
so much."
and she like, before he finishes, she's like, kisses him on the cheek. And it's just like,
He was so obviously about to say, but,
yes.
and she didn't
yes.
even let him,
It's
She's like, end.
it was tragic. And we're talking about West Elm Caleb on Wednesday's show. Are you familiar with? Oh my God, you gotta get into that.
Okay.
What is that?
Just to give a very brief summary, West Elm Caleb is a man who, through the power of TikTok, many women have compared notes and realized he's a periodic or he's a habitual, some people are using the word love bomber, but he will engage with women on dating apps, say a lot of very complimentary, very sort of intense things, like he deleted
Shares
Hinge.
playlist. He has a routine.
He
One
has
guy.
a
It's
literal
one guy.
routine. He has one.
No.
And
he has been
and his
outed.
This is when the internet's amazing.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
It is, but then it went too far.
Yeah,
with,
ruining
like,
his life.
Doxing
Not
of
okay.
his personality
Yeah.
and sharing personal information. But we'll be talking about it on tomorrow's episode with one of his exes.
Wow. Spicy.
And our guest, because it's a phenomenon in terms of like our behavior when it comes to dating now and relationships, specifically dating apps. And the only reason I bring that up is because like Cassidy, like I'm wondering what her behavior is and how she's going about. She was clearly trying to manipulate Clayton. She was trying to use this word very lightly, like almost gaslight.
I know. I was going to say it.
Because
I thought I'd get in trouble.
Yeah. I'm like, you're going to use the gaslight for
I know.
that situation.
She was.
No, but when you think about it, when she was clearly being like, her behavior was so bizarre and getting Clayton to like, I probably shouldn't use that word, but it was because she was so she was like selling Clayton as like her clearly bizarre behavior was normal. And maybe she's not aware. And that's why, or maybe it's not gaslighting. I don't know. But
I feel like she was also really trying to like set up this energy of like, this is us, baby. Like we're dramatic. Like it's passion. Like, you know what I mean? Like it was like, whoa. Like she was acting like it was like, this was their.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It was like, this is why are you going to question me about this?
Yeah.
Why would you do that? And it's, anyway, she's gone. And I think,
and the irony that one thing that Hunter said was that she, like Cassidy, last night, the night before the rose ceremony, asked me what my exit interview would be.
That made me laugh out loud.
And then Hunter got a rose and Cassidy did not.
That made me laugh out loud.
I thought that was that made me like Cassidy. If she was saying like talking shit and trying to like,
so what's your exit
what's your exit strategy?
be?
Like, get under like trying to get in their heads. I think that's hysterical.
But it was just so funny when the girl's like, yeah, she's mean, guys. Like she asked me. It was so funny. I laughed out loud at that moment.
Yeah.
So good.
We had the rose ceremony. So Cassidy went home before, and then Kate, who had a lot of talking heads. We saw a lot of commentary from Kate.
I was sad. I like her like sexy voice too.
Yeah.
She left. Yeah.
She got eliminated. So I'm wondering if it's like a paradise setup with because they showed her a lot.
She's on selling, or no, she's not. She's the one who works.
Oh, she's the Selling Sunset.
I think.
Gal.
I think that's her, right? I could be wrong about that, but I'm pretty sure that's her. And I was bummed she left. I was also bummed that MC.
Maybe they found out about Selling Sunset.
Yeah, and they're like, this is all a trick.
What I actually think it's just Clayton's not into her.
Yeah.
And there's like 3 other women who look
exactly like her.
like her.
That's true. I was bummed about NC.
She looks a lot like
cool.
the pilot flight attendant.
Rachel.
Rachel.
I think Rachel's going to win.
I keep confusing her and Kate.
I'm also going to go and say Rachel's going to win. I'm really.
That's your pick?
That's my pick.
They're really giving her
I feel like I can see the top 4 clear as day right now.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I kind of get more of that's the temptress for him, but like not. I feel like Clayton would pick someone he thinks America should pick. You know what I'm saying? I feel like,
as in Susie.
yeah, I think like Susie.
I think Susie's top 2.
Yeah.
Ooh.
I think Sarah's top 4, Teddy top 3. I think he doesn't sleep with Teddy. I think he sleeps with Rachel and Susie, and I think Rachel wins. That's my.
I think
that's my pick.
Genevieve makes it pretty far.
Oh, Genevieve too.
And
Which
Sarah.
one's
I think
Genevieve?
Sarah's
No, Sarah's
a really
top 4. I definitely think.
Okay.
Oh yeah. Sarah, she goes far.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Do we want to talk about the one-on-one or start in chronological
Let's-
order with the
let's-
group date?
Yeah. The group date.
Okay, awesome. So on this,
Before actually, Jesse Palmer comes in to set the week up and says literally what I jokingly said he would say last week. I mean, they literally gave him a card that said, Chris Harrison used to say this
Say it exactly.
this week. Say it exactly like that. Because go back and play the tape.
No,
I'm pretty
totally.
sure I nailed exactly
like you better
what
get your time.
what he's going to say. He's going to like warn them about their time. And
Yeah.
you better take advantage of this time. And also like, this is proof that Clayton's taking it seriously because he sent some like person home or whatever the fuck.
But I have
mean,
to
it was
say,
verbatim.
the return to like unbelievable form is kind of cozy for me. Like I
It is.
feel like, especially with the world upheaval of everything we've all been through, there's something like very cozy about we're in the mansion. It's the
100%.
same speech.
We're
Like
back.
I kind of like it. You know, I have to say.
It's kind of like good for them for being able to like
I
not
know.
even pretend that it's just a
the
canned
same
line.
thing. It's
Hopefully it
insane.
shows you how serious Clayton is about this whole thing. My advice to you all, if you get time with Clayton, take advantage of it. You don't know when your last moment with Clayton will come.
Yeah, I've heard
I
that
mean,
3,500 times.
every season. Anyways, we get a group date.
so on this group date is Serene, Susie, Eliza, Mara, Marlena, Hunter, Genevieve, and Jill.
It's basically the same date I had on Caitlyn.
Yeah,
season.
literally.
Yeah.
Down to the circle
Down
and
to,
with
like, the
chairs.
dark
I mean, literally,
circle.
other than like, instead of me like saying, hey, we want you guys to
It was Caitlyn.
talk about this, Caitlyn just kind of asked this one open question.
Yeah.
Are there things about you yourself that you're not proud of? And listen, I think a lot of people like the date on Katie's season. I think it would make sense for them to do a version of this date every season because it allows you
Totally.
to
The fast track.
some more intimacy with the contestants. You know, you're gonna get you get a lot of surface level things from most of them, and then they'll play the montage. You see the person talking with a voiceover, but you get a couple nuggets from a couple of the women that are personal. They gave us a trigger warning.
Yeah.
I thought it was ironic. Did anyone notice how they gave us a trigger warning? We didn't know what the trigger warning was going to be for. It turns out it was women talking about body images and bad boyfriends making him feel a certain way.
Yeah, and like emotional abuse.
Yeah, and then the show like low keys shames
them run
Shanae
around
for eating too much shrimp.
Oh, but I don't think that was because she was eating too much shrimp. I feel like it was because she stole
I
all
don't
the
know.
shrimp.
I agree that it was definitely to emphasize that she was being selfish, but I also clocked that. I was like, that's not
interesting.
cool to have a tally of how much, like,
I mean,
you know what I mean?
I mean, we're
Oh,
talking
that's so
about a
interesting.
household of women, and they're like 1 shrimp, 2 shrimp.
I thought it was more about because shrimp's like healthy. Isn't shrimp healthy?
What do you think the bad boyfriends these women were referring to would do to make you know what I'm saying? What
Right.
do you think a shitty boyfriend who makes their girlfriend feel shitty
Right.
about how they should look? Do you think they count their food?
Probably. I actually thought it was a little strange. What really stood out to me was that they had this really emotional date about body image. And then the next one-on-one, they made Sarah get in her underwear and she was like shaking with anxiety about it. Like, I actually really didn't like that. I didn't think the underwear.
one-on-one? I thought that was stupid.
I thought that she didn't want to do that. I thought
we
he
were
didn't
done.
want to do that.
I thought we were done with the useless nakedness.
Yeah, 'cause
now
they're
that we're
traveling.
out, they're traveling.
I just didn't like it. And I thought she seemed miserable.
What
and
are
I
you
just thought it was
supposed to
weird.
do if you're her?
She had to do it. I mean,
She
definitely.
also, when they say that at first, her initial reaction was, what if you're not wearing
Yeah.
any underwear? I was like, I think she wore a thong to this date.
Yeah, definitely.
Like they definitely gave her that set.
They had
or told
matching.
her to bring
coverage.
it.
Of course, they had matching
Yeah.
underwear.
Yeah.
Yeah, she literally couldn't have been wearing the top with the
Yeah,
dress
exactly.
that she had
Yeah, no,
on.
definitely. I just thought that to me stood out more than the shrimp moment, where it's this emotional date specifically about body image. And then it's like, surprise, get naked and run around downtown LA. I just thought that was a little bit dense.
I'm being a little critical with the shrimp. I mean, it's just more, there's this trigger warning, and then, they talk about it. And then, because I see the other side. In fact, it's another version of Meatball Story. It reminded me of a time, and I have a large family. I have a lot of siblings. And one time my mom made spaghetti and meatballs, and my sister brought her roommate home from college. And there's like 12 of us there.
Yeah.
And her roommate put 9 meatballs. We were all like, and then she ate one. And we were all like,
oh, and you were being too polite to say anything.
Yeah, we just didn't say anything.
Really funny.
And it was just kind of like, there's just 15 people, and and then the shrimp, there's a house full of women. There's a finite amount of shrimp.
To me, that was why.
And Shanae is like, I don't give a fuck. I'm hungry. And yes, that deserves some teasing. But I guess it's more like walking the fine line between the Bachelor trying to put on the trigger warning and want credit for talking about this kind of emotional stress that, people have had when it comes to shitty partners. And then 10 minutes later, we're counting shrimp.
Yeah. The shrimp thing didn't, that's a good point. I completely thought it was just about how selfish she was being, that she was taking all of Elizabeth's shrimp.
Yeah, I think the selfishness came across, but it also it rubbed you the wrong way of being
that's a good point. Why are you counting how much?
The other thing about that situation was that Elizabeth, who I think has handled drama in a pretty resolute and classy manner, had the talking head or the confessional of, I don't know what portions are like in Ohio, but this isn't a roadside buffet. Right. And after she said that, I was like,
right. Yeah.
Now we're talking about portion control.
Also just incredibly condescending.
Yeah.
In terms of
no, it seemed like it was talking down about Ohio.
Well,
totally.
It's all the framing, right? If it was, hey, there's 15 of us and I made one for everyone to enjoy. Mm-hmm. And why are you stealing it all? Fine. But when you talk about portion control, because the other side of that argument, maybe Shanae is hey, Shanae, what the fuck? What happened? She's just I don't know, they were sitting there for 45 minutes.
Right, yeah, we don't know.
No one fucking ate it.
Yeah, we don't know.
And she did make more.
And they were delicious.
Yeah, she made more for us.
And true. I love them. And I love shrimp. And maybe I can only eat shellfish. I don't know.
Right. We don't
there's
know
a million
context.
different.
There's always happens with the villain where it's they deserve criticism to an extent, and then
they pile on.
The onslaught. It starts to make me really uncomfortable because it just seems I see the animalisticness of what happens when a herd of men or a herd of women get together and hate one.
Yeah, 100%.
I guess it happened to you.
Yeah,
so sad.
What do you think if you're in a situation where you feel like the house is against you? What do you think the best strategy is?
Truly, I mean, it's easy to having gone through it. You don't know what to do, because in reality, what's most likely happening is that when Shanae's not drinking and there's not a cocktail party or a date going on, they're probably all getting along. The shrimp stuff, no one gave a shit.
Right.
No one probably even noticed. Yeah. Maybe one person noticed, and then they talked about it in her ITM, and then they inserted it into the show and made it a theme. Mm-hmm. And it wasn't a thing. You know what I'm saying? No one was talking about in that fight that they had later in the episode when Shanae's saying, you guys are cueing me at bowling. No one's really, she's I made you shrimp. That's the only time shrimp got brought up. But no one came after Shanae for eating all the shrimp and calling her selfish or anything like that. You're so inconsiderate. We all wanted some and you ate it. No one used that. And so you don't even know. You know what I'm saying? You don't even know when or who to trust, because I'd be willing to bet most of the time everyone's getting along. That's what's usually happening is 95% of the time in the house, everyone's getting along. And I would never forget when I was on Andy's season, I'd be talking to these guys, and then out of nowhere, in the middle of a cocktail party, they a couple would start yelling at me because they got primed. You know, they got primed up, and maybe they were annoyed by me, and then they went in their ITM and be I don't know if I should trust Nick because and they got gassed up, and that's what's going on with Shanae. Yeah, is she feeling the fire? For sure. Is she saying bizarre things,
unhinged comments,
and completely not helping herself? Of course. and she's playing in their hands so beautifully.
I have to say, I've missed a villain like this. Like, it's been a while.
know.
We haven't had one in a while.
I know. Someone who will just like run their mouth like that.
Because Victoria was mean. I didn't like Victoria as a villain.
The queen?
I thought she was mean. I didn't enjoy that.
It also made me sad, like how they would show shots of Victoria where like she would have wardrobe malfunctions or like her bra would be showing and I'd be like, this makes me sad.
That was also mean. I thought it was
Shanae doesn't make you sad? Because Shanae makes me more sad than Victoria.
I think probably in the real world, I'd be more. Yeah.
Shanae makes me sad in a different way.
Yeah.
How so?
Like,
I'm a little bit more worried about Shanae. I feel like Victoria was very self-aware of what was going on.
Sure.
I feel like Shanae.
She didn't get back and have no clue what happened.
I just am not sure she really should be on TV. I feel like maybe she's just drunk. I hope she's just drunk.
I think she's
When you
drunk.
said that, it made me feel better. Because when I watched it last night, I was like, are we watching somebody's mental illness be exploited? You know, like
I think it's she's.
Okay, good. I really, really hope. Because then I could feel safe to just laugh at it and feel fine about it, you know?
yeah, I think there's like a tiny bit more like, yes, I don't think Victoria is like a self-aware person or didn't come off that way on the show. But there's something about like knowing I am the queen and almost doing this character thing versus Shanae. Like, I think it's just like it's just really hard to watch her have such an incorrect take on what's happening and feel so like vindicated in it.
Yes.
Because it's just like, I think that's what
her
makes
reality
me cringe.
is skewed.
Yeah. And I'm like, and it makes me like also, and maybe I am probably forgetting some of Victoria's stuff, but I think like some of the social stuff where she's like with Elizabeth, how she's like not getting it. She's like, but you don't talk to, and it's like, that made me really, like, that felt like a ninth grade kind of like, you don't understand that like not everybody wants to be your friend.
Yeah, I guess, but I think it's a combination of what we suspect is liquor, wine, whatever, and the insanity of what it feels like to have the house turn against you. Even if the house is quote unquote justified because Shanae's behavior is bizarre. And yes, Shanae is not doing herself any favors and she is going after Elizabeth. And I feel for Elizabeth.
Yeah, me too. Why Elizabeth? I feel like I'm missing something. Like,
who knows? But I really feel for Elizabeth.
Me too.
And so I think Shanae, a combination of she's not, regardless, Shanae, most people aren't equipped. I don't know if anyone is, to handle feeling like an outsider in that house that early on.
No, definitely.
She's inebriated, most likely, we're guessing.
Definitely.
And so, yeah, I think it's just a combination of all of it, right? And I think Shanae, my hope for Shanae is if sober Shanae, who's not being thrown into this completely impossible environment, won't have to know how to handle this. So she wouldn't act this way in normal because she is trying to fight fire with fire, right? That's all she's really doing.
Yeah.
She's being attacked and she's trying to attack back. She feels like the best defense is a strong offense.
Yeah.
Terrible idea, but like that's what she's trying to do.
The best defense is calling everyone you're living with bitches.
Yeah. I think the other thing also is Victoria to me seemed like she wanted to cause the drama in the house. Shanae feels completely unaware that she is the villain. Am I giving her too much?
I think you're giving a little bit too
or
much
whatever.
credit.
Yeah.
Because she clearly in these ITMs is kind of...
She's like, I nailed it.
Embracing it.
Yeah.
You know, that part seems a little edited to me. That could have been about anything. I bet she sounded like she was talking a joke.
Right.
That
or like she nailed like the
she's going to get a lot of heat for... They made it seem like she consciously lied about Elizabeth. That she made it, it came across to me, I don't know about you two, that when she went to Clayton and said, hey, the bullying's still going on, and she cried, they made it seem like that was a total performance on the part of Shanae. You guys didn't remember?
Yes.
It was...
yes, but I believe that Shanae thinks she's being bullied.
No, I know, but what I'm saying, when she said that to Clayton,
it was so manipulative.
The edit, what we saw, made it seem like that she knew what she was saying, that was deliberately manipulative, that she was just flat out lying. That's how they made it seem. And then I agree with you that like when she's talking to the women, she believes that she is being victimized.
And I bet
it doesn't compute. So I think there's some creative
editing. Yeah, I think like kind of in every group dynamic I've ever been in, like I always feel like there has to be like the common enemy to an extent. You know what I mean? Like that's kind of like a harsh way to look at things. But I feel like every family vacation I've been on, or every trip with boyfriends and their friends, like there was always like one person that kind of got shit talked, you know? And I feel like that just happens in a group environment. And Shanae is I'm not sure she's getting bullied. I think she's being manipulative and exaggerating and frankly is possibly bullying herself, like bullying Elizabeth. But I do believe that she might be like the common enemy in the group and she's the one who's getting excluded.
I bet to her it feels like bullying.
Yeah, I think she thinks she's getting bullied.
I think to me, it's just like whenever she mentions ADHD, that's when it sort of, I stop feeling bad for her.
I agree. Like, no, she's being mean. Like she's not being nice. Yeah, 100%.
It's a fascinating kind of situation because she is both, I can empathize with how trapped she might feel, and I can empathize with, well, I don't think she's being bullied, and bullying such a trigger word these days.
Yeah, totally.
That I still can empathize why she might feel that way.
Definitely.
And that it's a legitimate feeling. And then she is being gassed up to like express herself in a way that's completely not productive for her. But yes, at the same, and then you flip it. Yes, she's made her own bed. She's saying these things where like, I mean, if you're asking me if I'm Team Elizabeth or Team Shanae, it's like not even, it's.
Of course, yeah. Team Elizabeth, duh.
Team Elizabeth. Yeah. Like.
But I do understand. This is what I'm saying, where somebody is awful, and I'm like, oh my God, they're awful, and then everybody starts to talk about how they're awful, and I start to feel bad for them, you know. Okay. So that's really all it is. Like Shanae started it, but I feel bad for her at the same time.
Yeah,
it's a toughie.
Yeah.
So we had on the circle one-on-one, you know, with the feelings and whatnot after in the cocktail party. I feel like we saw a lot of like really. We got to really see which relationships were progressing, especially like Clayton and Eliza, him and Serene.
Serene is so hot. I think she's one of the most beautiful women I've ever seen on the show.
They have some very striking women.
She is beautiful. Yeah. Yes. Oh my God.
Casting popped off.
Really popped off.
And then who got the group date rose?
Eliza.
Also very
beautiful.
I love Eliza.
That surprised me. She's very cute. She seems very sweet.
Yeah. It feels like her, like, I think sometimes it's very hard for so much positivity to come off as authentic. And yet with Eliza, it really does.
I agree with that.
She also, like, she got sidelined last week.
Didn't get a date.
And handled it like well, you didn't really see her because of how well she handled it until she talked to Clayton and then used her time with Clayton not to talk about why Clayton didn't put her on a date, but just to get to know Clayton. Very significant that they either chose to air that or that's all she talked about, because most people will use their time to be like, well, I wasn't really I felt really insecure. In fact, that's who else. Rachel. Rachel was being manipulative with Clayton this week.
Wait, what did she say? I forget.
It was, they all do this thing where they lay over, they get really comfortable, and it's just like they just talk about how insecure they're feeling when he's talking to all the women, and I just like want to hear it. And it's just like
it's going to be your new gaslight with all these women on this.
And again, I use that word lightly, but I say manipulative because I think they know exactly what they're saying,
definitely.
And they're trying to elicit a particular response from Clayton. That's not the conversation you saw with Eliza last week, where it was just a conversation between two people. One person asked questions, the other person respond, and it's just like. And with Rachel's conversation, why I was, hard on Teddy the other week, it's just like, I want to tell you how I'm feeling because then I want you to do something about that. And they've both used words like validation. They're openly saying, validate me.
Yes.
And
okay, this might get me in trouble.
And it doesn't get you anywhere. It gets you attention. It doesn't get you closer, and it does not build a connection.
I think that this could get, I'm not trying to like ever victim blame, obviously. But sometimes I feel like Clayton is possibly easy to manipulate.
Yes.
And I think that they can tell.
I think they can tell.
And I think that, that's one of the reasons why this season feels like a return home in a way to The Bachelor for me, where, and this is nothing against Clayton, I think he seems very nice. And I think he genuinely wants a wife and a family. And I love that for him. And I think he'll be a great partner and everything. But he is kind of like this brutally average guy getting chased by unbelievably beautiful. It just like feels like such a microcosm for dating, you know? Like that's what it feels like a lot of the time is like these really amazing women focused so intensely on, does he like me? I don't know how many of them are asking, do I like him? You know, because he seems like a great guy, but he's a great guy. And these women are kind of exceptional.
What's really interesting the way you say that is that, and that why I'm using the words manipulative.
Yeah.
Is because I agree with everything you're saying, except the only reason they're not asking, do I like him? Because I don't think they care.
Yeah.
Because they're on The Bachelor and they aren't there for the right reasons.
Right.
Am I the only one who's charmed by Clayton?
No, I think I don't want to be a bitch because I do think he's really sweet and I think he's going to be a fantastic partner. I think he'll be a great dad. Like he's a catch in that way.
And we're gonna start coming around on Clayton on this show because it's no longer his fault he was casted. He is our Bachelor, and he is delivering a very entertaining season.
Fantastic.
And the lead is very responsible for that.
Yeah.
Whether they are just they're easy going to work with producers, being like they might just be like, hey, listen, I don't know, I like 3 women, I don't give a fuck.
Totally,
like, whatever.
No, totally, I get
and
it.
They just go along with it.
No,
Maybe they're
really
just there to like be nice and whatever. And Clayton is so far being an excellent Bachelor if you are in it for the entertainment value and the drama. And he's been amazing.
Yeah, he's been amazing.
And it's a
and I like him. I like him.
It's a thing. It's being a Bachelor, and I say this very jokingly, it's a thankless fucking job.
Yeah.
And he's going to be fine.
Your only thanks, 25 beautiful women.
His face when all those women were running to him.
We have Rozzi like literally saying how incredibly average he is.
I know.
And a lot of people not disagreeing with him. And listen, Clayton is
he knows
6'4" and handsome, and he's a very blessed
player.
Individual, and yet and we can also fairly call him incredibly average.
Fair.
Right? And so that's what I'm saying. And it's become this because, you know, as a society, we're becoming smarter daters and self-aware and learning about boundaries and expectations. And it's an audience of primarily women who are learning about boundaries and expectations and being like, why do I fucking care? Why am I care? Why do I care? And these guys we're watching on TV are representing all the bullshit that like the women who will watch it have put up with, and it's become this thankless job.
It's perfect that way.
And Clayton is doing an amazing job as whatever his assignment is. You could argue he's doing a great job.
I mean, it's just unbelievably relatable. Like it's just so, that's the brilliance of it. It's just like you said, like it's every woman in America is like, why the fuck am I so concerned if this random guy likes me? Like, look at me. Why should I, whatever. Like, I think it's a really, that's why I keep saying the word cozy. It's like a very familiar feeling.
Well, yeah, right. And the only reason Rachel, what I would argue that these women care is not because of Clayton, but because they're competing.
Yep.
It's because.
And they want to be liked.
It could be a tree. As long as a tree likes me more than likes you, I'm happy.
Which is very human. And
it's
by the way,
very human. We all, it's ego.
Yeah, it's human. And I don't judge them for it, really. I also think Clayton is very self-aware, and that makes me like him even more. His face, when all those girls were running to him on the beach, was like, I cannot believe this is me. Like, he knows. He doesn't think he deserves
another way of saying it, too, I think he's comfortable with who he is. And he just hopes that's enough for America, Bachelor Nation, whoever he picks. And that is a very charming quality.
I love that. I really do like him. I think that he is very self-aware. He doesn't take himself too seriously. He doesn't think I was made to be the Bachelor. I think he's like, holy shit, this is awesome. I'm going to do the best I can.
Except I got to tease him one more. Like
the suntan?
The singing?
The sunburn?
No. No,
We're all too ready to tease him.
It's when he, with the straightest of faces, says to Sarah on the 101, I mean, I know I'm Clayton the Bachelor, but it was him trying to be. It was like, I'm just a normal guy.
Totally.
It's like, we know.
For me, the sunburn was too much. The sunburn, I was like,
what can you do about the sunburn?
No, somebody. Like, don't let him get the sunburn.
producers.
Yeah, that's
Put on
true.
it, like
Get
some
some
lotion.
SPF on
Come
that guy.
I mean, it was just mean. I was like, the
But
sunburn.
you're right. You know, his producers really should have been on that.
They should have been on that. It was just so brutal. By the way, speaking of the sunburn, Gabby is my favorite. I love Gabby. I want more of Gabby.
Okay.
Love her. I think she's so funny. I think she's weird in a great way. I think she's
fine.
oh my God, I love her. She like really makes me laugh. She's such a weirdo. No?
Yeah. And when they
I don't
first-
really
for you
have an
guys?
opinion of Gabby, I guess.
When they first showed her conversation with Clayton, it felt like there was something to me that felt like really off about it. Like I was like, oh my God, is this one of those like awkward conversations sent home on a group date? And then like the second you see them, and then it like very quickly pivots.
Yeah.
It's like, wait, they're having so much fun. And I agree that she's like,
I just like when they're not taking it too seriously. I always am drawn to that. I think she's funny. I think she's having a good time. I think I keep saying weird, but I just appreciate the weirdness.
I feel like we all have some friends who are like, oh my God, you're so funny, like an alien.
Yes.
And I feel like Gabby is
Her
like
voice, the way
that,
she's
of like that.
She's like, it was really crazy when that happened. I'm like, I love you. You're so weird talking like that, you know? She's like, I won. Like, I just like her. I think she's bizarre.
In the CPR bit of the challenge, when she just like leaves and is like, he's alive.
Yeah.
And just like walks by him.
Did they skipped over the part where they told the women to like be erotic when giving?
Yeah, that was
What?
Thank you for bringing that up, Nick.
They're like, we're teaching
Like they're like, oh, we do CPR, and all of a sudden they're just like catwalking
this.
over to this
Yeah.
dummy, and like,
Straddling.
which I'm fine, but I just why didn't they like offer some context?
I don't know. That was
But
really
like,
weird.
let's have some fun with it and blah 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 or
They all
whatever.
looked really hot. I thought all the girls looked so beautiful on that day.
I'm looking
So
at the
gorgeous.
sheet, and it is amazing how much Hunter, Lindsay, Rachel,
Look the same.
Look,
Elizabeth sometimes.
Yes.
Elizabeth
No, it's true.
sometimes,
That's really
Blonde
true.
blondes.
all, like so similar.
I know. It's true. Maybe that's why. Yeah, it's.
Yeah, Kate, yeah.
Oh yeah,
Kate, Hunter, Lindsay, and Rachel, like cousins.
definitely.
Kate had to go.
Kate,
Yeah.
one of them had to go.
Slowly but surely, they're chipping away.
You know, if Rachel's going to get her story arc, if you can't be confusing her with
Can't- no,
Kate,
totally.
it's too
Totally.
much. It's too much. Is Lindsay even on still?
Lindsay's on.
Yes.
Lindsay to me is like I'm watching her have this close to a breakdown. I'm just waiting for her. She just seems like she was constantly
And she was
falling
I don't know
apart.
If she did
That's how I
cry,
feel
but
about
she was on the
Genevieve.
verge of
Genevieve too. They're both just like on the verge at all times.
I feel like
It
at
gives me
any
so much
moment,
anxiety.
In fact, once Shanae goes home, I could see the house turning against Genevieve.
I mean, I tend to be very wrong with my predictions, but I really think Genevieve, I think she just strikes me as like someone who doesn't feel like TV, like just feels so like a very real person to me in a way I can't quite articulate.
She just seems like I don't know. I just see like on her verge of.
I can like I don't know if this is a compliment or a criticism. I can literally see her crying at Paradise.
Yeah.
I can like see her face on the beach.
Like I'm certain,
Paradise
I'm
crying.
certain she's already cried in the bathroom a handful of times
Yes.
that just didn't air it because right now we're focused on Cassidy and Shanae. And I like my favorite thing about this show is every time a villain goes home and the women or the men band together and be like, oh, finally the drama's gone.
Right.
And I'm just like laughing, be like,
Right.
you're all gonna you're gonna find
somebody else to hate.
And Genevieve, like again, if she is crying in the bathroom, totally understandable. I empathize, but I could see the house, you know, saying how dramatic she is and she makes it all about her, whatever. You know, it won't be anything like actually like real
Right.
or a valid criticism of someone. No, they will just turn on someone like a virus turns on their host.
Yep.
I mean, it's high school. And that's I don't know who it's going to be. It will be somebody.
Yeah.
It will probably be more than somebody.
Yeah, I
But-
wonder.
But Shanae is
Okay, from the
going
Super
home next
Teas?
week for sure.
For some reason,
Right?
I don't know.
You only can get so much.
I'm bored. I'll
crazy
get
out of-
bored of it. I hope she does, frankly.
Well-
I'm getting over it.
We're getting to that point where like Clayton's gonna. You're making Clayton choose because the longer
And he doesn't seem to really care about
the
her.
only reason, like if you rewind and go back to my season with Corinne, out of the gate she came out strong. She came out just like Shanae or Cassidy or a combinate. You combine the two and you had Corinne who was just way funnier at delivering some of these lines. That like and,
Again, more self-aware.
but Corinne toned it down eventually
Mhm.
she was able to win the house. The women in the house quite liked Corinne,
Mhm.
and you don't see that. So like,
Mhm.
if the women continue to like really not like Shanae, Clayton will just look sillier and sillier for keeping her around. She either is going to have to like have a drastic turn and like a bunch of the women like be like, oh, Shanae's cool. Like she's like, it's just the drinking or whatever. Or
That's not going to happen. I don't think.
yeah, she doesn't have
Yeah.
a nanny. I don't think Clayton's into her.
Mm-mm.
I think she has a very specific assignment, and that assignment is about to run its course.
And it's running its course. Yeah, totally.
And they will find it with someone else.
Yeah.
My favorite Shanae quote from the episode was she was like, everyone's always celebrating everyone. I don't get it.
Yeah.
It's like fair. Honestly fair.
Totally. No, she made me laugh. Like I was entertained for sure.
Sarah had another, it was right up there with, I know I'm Clayton the Bachelor, but I think it was Sarah, I forget the line, but it was, I'm just glad that you think, like Clayton told me how he thinks his feel, and I think and feel the same way he does. And it just makes me feel good that we're thinking and feeling about the same thing. It was something that generic.
Sarah actually said something that actually I thought was very sweet. When she got kind of emotional at their date, and she said something, I wrote it down. You're already special to me, and it's weird, but it's cool. And I thought that was cute. I thought it felt real. It felt like a real sentence that
Like
somebody
speaking
would
from
say.
the heart.
Yeah. I thought that was sweet.
In conclusion, do we have any final notes? My final note was that it was potentially making it look like, if not a 2-on-1, like he was going to have a conversation with both of them.
Oh,
and like
I think it's too early to set up a 2-on-1 between Elizabeth and Shanae.
Like it hasn't officially ended. Like I feel like Shanae makes it one more week. No, maybe not.
It's possible. I'd be surprised.
I think she goes home. Yeah,
I think she goes home. I don't think Clayton
likes her
at all.
Mm-hmm.
Have we seen?
No, the kiss was uncomfortable when I think she really.
And I think
it's charge.
I think it's too early for this to turn into a 2-on-1.
Yeah,
it's only episode 3.
Am I going crazy, or was there one time where before a cocktail party they took aside 2 contestants who had beef and was like, "We're gonna we have a rose, and one of you is staying, one of you is going."
Oh, that did happen.
I can't remember what season though.
I forget too. I kind of hate the structure where the rose ceremony is at the top of the episode.
I know.
I don't like that. I want to know.
I want to know.
I want some finality.
Yeah, it's fine.
I know. I completely agree. I'm like, I want.
I'm like,
the
how
toast.
dare you not
I
tell
want to
me?
end with the toast and the announcement of where they're going next.
Yes.
The only thing is, I kind of hate opening up an episode with the rose ceremony.
That's the only
weird.
Throws me off.
It doesn't. Yeah.
It's anticlimactic, like having the rose ceremony at the top.
Yeah, but that's the thing. And I think why it's okay is because rose ceremonies this early aren't climactic.
That's true.
Like,
I'm a little.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
When was the last time you've gasped like in the 4th rose ceremony when there's still 17 people left?
No, it's true.
Like there's no big surprises. Like if someone goes home, if there's a shocking goodbye, it doesn't happen at a rose ceremony. It happens because like Clayton pulls Jesse aside and says, "Hey, like, has anyone ever done this before? Because I just found out that this person has a fuck buddy and they're lying to me." It's not until it's down to like the final 4 where you ever have even then a climactic rose ceremony. So that's why I think it works.
Yeah.
And as I've always said, if they have to be continues, it means they have a lot of good stuff.
Right. It's a great season.
It is. It's a great
I'm really
season.
loving it. I'm really loving it.
And it's good. The fact that they've had 2 cliffhangers in 3 weeks is a great sign
Here's
for
my question.
what's to come this season.
How
and I've heard it's ours.
You've heard? Sorry, go ahead.
I've heard the producers think it's one of their best.
Oh, fuck yes. Oh, that's awesome. That gets me so excited. Because I was actually just going to say, sometimes I'm like, Clayton is so good at being like the canvas for all this drama. I sometimes worry that when it comes down to the more, he's really in the relationships and it's the final 4, 3, 2, whatever, like can it have the same?
I agree. I think whoever Clayton picks, there's a good chance it might not work out.
Well, yeah, the 3 I love yous. Like that's a real hurdle to get through in a relationship.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. It's just it's interesting that you said that because what did Clayton say? It was with Sarah. And he said to Sarah, "I don't think I could have done this with anyone else." And I thought in that moment, well, unless you pick Sarah, I cannot wait till you watch this with your future fiance. And it's this little bullshit like that.
Totally.
That like when you get engaged to someone and they choose to watch it, which most of them do, a couple couples have opted not to. And you didn't think you could have done that with me?
Yeah.
And then they'll say something, well, I was the bachelor. I don't know. And like, that usually just doesn't fly. Oh, and
were you really conscious of that throughout your season? Like making sure not to say those?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's smart.
I don't know if I always did, but I still had to have those conversations.
Because I bet you kind of get so like deep in the rabbit hole that you probably forget to an extent like what happens after. Like
I was more careful about not saying things to the women that I wasn't going to pick out of not wanting to lead them on and feeling like a hypocrite having felt led on.
Totally.
I was more self-conscious about that than having to worry about like getting shit for jumping in a trampoline with Corinne from Vanessa, which I got, but like and I didn't want to do it, but like whatever.
Right.
But I don't know if I was like worrying about every little thing like that out of fear like Vanessa would say something.
Right.
But I was careful about what I said.
Wow.
Yeah, because Clayton is someone who's so in the moment, and it's like clear that like whoever's in front of him, he just wants to make them feel good and like they're
so in the moment.
And like a similar line he had was like during the Rachel situation when she was like, I feel like I'm getting validated and I feel like our connection is different than everyone's. Clayton like has this big grin on his face. He's like, yes, that is correct. Which is like, I think when we're getting winner energy, it's Rachel's interactions like that.
I also think she's the one who's sobbing on the stairs in the teaser when it's like after I slept with both of you.
Yeah.
I think it's Rachel.
Okay.
Again, I have absolutely no spoiler. I'm like
I could totally.
I feel like Rozzi gave us, do you want to recap Final Four?
Oh, sure. Yes.
Like hometowns
please.
and like winner?
This is what I think. I think number 4, Sarah. Number 3, Teddy. Number 2, Susie. Winner, Rachel. And I'm going against Jimmy Kimmel, which is...
What did he say?
He said Susie.
Wins.
Yeah. But I think Rachel wins, and I think... Because I think Rachel is more into Clayton than Susie is my impression so far. And I think Teddy might be the Bachelorette. I would have said Susie, but she just looks too much like Hannah Brown. Isn't that weird to have a Bachelorette that looks exactly like a recent Bachelorette?
I mean, Hannah Brown's very popular.
That's true, actually. That's a good point. Maybe it's a good thing.
Yeah, I don't know.
I just think people are going to really like Teddy. Teddy also has a Queen of Paradise energy. She's got a Serena Queen of Paradise energy to me.
Totally.
Yeah. All I know is they know who they want for their next Bachelorette.
Do they know before it starts, usually?
My understanding is they know who they want it to be. And which isn't always the case.
Right.
Sometimes it's, let's see how the season plays out. Sometimes they have like 2 or 3 people they like. They're not really sure.
But when they're casting the Bachelor, they usually know.
My understanding is they have a clear front runner. That sort of like, things come up and things change, but they have a clear front runner of who their next Bachelorette is my understanding.
Wow. I love this tea.
Nick, what's your top 4?
I think it's really solid. I don't know if I have enough conviction about a top 4 to try to like...
Are you intimidated by my intense conviction?
It's a really solid... I think after last week talking to Teddy, I feel like she kind of gave herself away speaking in past tense.
Yeah, I think so
I
too.
definitely did not. Unless she was like, I'm going to trick this motherfucker.
Which would have been dope of her.
Like, if you did, if you're with Clayton now, Teddy, like, props to you. Like, you manipulated me.
Yeah.
Well, Michelle was good at.
Michelle was great at that.
Like,
Michelle
kind of throwing
has
you
amazing
off.
Poker face. That was different.
It was more of a poker face and less of I'm going to
slip
actively.
I'm going to make it seem like I fucked up to trick you.
If that's what she did, then she is very manipulative. Right?
Smart and strategic.
I'm honestly like rooting for it. And
me too.
But so I don't think Teddy wins. And I even low-key got a vibe that like the fantasy suite hope and expectation I have isn't, I don't think there's going to be I lost my virginity in the fantasy suite either.
I don't think so. But I think she goes to the fantasy suites.
Maybe.
But I think he only sleeps with 2.
Yeah. I think we will be if you're looking for this big never happened before moment of the virgin losing her virginity in the
Teddy
fantasy
just
suite, I don't think
seems
that's going to happen.
Really smart to me. And I'm not saying that it wouldn't be smart to do that. I think it has nothing to do with intelligence. But I feel like she might be very aware of like the attention that would get and maybe not want to put herself in that situation.
She knew it would get her there, but she didn't.
Exactly.
And she knew she didn't need to follow through.
Of course. Yeah. Yeah.
Like brilliant.
Really brilliant.
Yeah, Sarah, I think Sarah's 4 is a really solid pick.
Mm-hmm. I also really want to go to her family because she's adopted. I don't think we've ever seen that in The Bachelor.
But
I'm embarrassing myself with how much I know.
Do we know, did Clayton sleep with 3 or 2?
I think he slept with 2 because I remember, I think it's unclear, but I'm pretty sure he was like, I want to be honest with you guys. I was in love with her. And I'm in love with both of you. I was in love with her and I slept with both of you. I think is what he said. I don't think he said I slept with all 3 of you.
Which is why I think Sarah not getting to the fantasy suite is a good pick because I think there's a strong physical connection there.
Yeah.
And I think Sarah was like giving Clayton fuck me eyes at the 101. She was just like
she was. I noticed that too.
Just giving him like eyes. Like and I feel like if Clayton, it would be a very tempting situation for Clayton. And so she's either one of the 2.
Right. Or actively not.
Yeah. So it's like, I can Rachel, Susie and Sarah. I have no clear, they could, but I like them as a top 4.
I'm just like, who else? I mean, I guess you're saying Genevieve is an alternate.
Yeah.
Genevieve is an alternate. That could be a surprise.
She's got paradise face to me, which doesn't mean that she can't be that.
Paradise in the face.
Serene.
Paradise face.
Serene, I think.
That's
Serene.
a great point.
But I don't feel like they have much chemistry.
I don't think they do.
I think she is unbellevably beautiful. And I think he's like, you're too hot for me, kind of. Yeah. You know?
I think he's just like, I don't even know what to do with this.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for coming.
Oh my God, are you kidding? It's my dream come true.
Please let my audience know where they can enjoy your music, follow you, all that fun stuff.
My music is everywhere you listen to music. You just look up Rozzi, R-O-Z-Z-I. And the first half of my album came out last year. It's called Hymn for Tomorrow. The second half is coming soon. And you can follow me everywhere at This Is Rozzi.
Amazing.
Yeah.
I was listening to it on the way to work. It rocks.
Thank you.
Would recommend.
Thank you so much.
We appreciate you guys all listening. Hope you enjoyed this episode. Be sure to subscribe, rate us 5 stars on Spotify now too.
Yes.
Not just Apple.
Not just Apple, but also Apple. Be sure to tune in tomorrow. If you've been following West Elm Caleb drama, we'll be talking about that, talking to one of his exes, but also just talking about dating app behavior in this climate that we have.
Like can you say the same thing to multiple people?
Yeah. Our guest, Morgan Cohen, will be joining me to break this all down. She is a very thoughtful young personality on TikTok, talking a lot about dating and relationships. She refers to herself as the big sister of TikTok. I love her insight on TikTok, and she'll be joining us to help break down all the West Elm Caleb drama and a larger discussion about our dating app etiquette and is it all the men's fault? Is a collective?
It's a good. I'm interested in that. It's a good conversation to have.
There's a lot. Yeah, there's been a lot of conversations around like because at first it was like fuck West Elm Caleb, and then it was wait, aren't we all like this response is a little too much because we're all sloppy. We're all.
I'm sure. I mean, I haven't been on a dating app in a minute, but I feel like I probably said the same thing to multiple people. Of course. I'm sure I did.
Of course.
You know? But maybe not verbatim.
Yeah, I think, we'll break it down. So be sure to tune in that episode. Rozzi, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
An absolute delight. Really enjoyed having you on. And also, episode 2 of Mediation with Morgan. So if you are having fights with your partner, and you, whether it's video games, taco night, or the silly things we fight about as couples, you will enjoy our mediation segment that's on Wednesday now. And be sure to send in your questions if you're having a fight and you want a couple of non-experts giving your thoughts on your fight. Email us at asknickacademy.com, cats with a K. Other than that, see you tomorrow. Hey guys, thanks for watching. But before you go, make sure you like, subscribe, and ring that bell so you don't miss any future videos like our Mondays Ask Nick, especially if you're looking for some relationship stories and relationship advice, as well as our Wednesday interviews with your favorite celebrities and experts. See you next time.